In the event that he hadn't had a crippling stroke that rendered him wheelchair-bound, American Pickers star Frank Fritz would have been able to return to the show that airs on the History Channel. After having a stroke that rendered the right half of his body paralyzed, Frank passed away on September 30 at the age of 60. His death occurred 2 years after the stroke. Beginning on October 9, the start of the 26th season of American Pickers will feature Robbie Wolf, Mike, who is 60 years old, as well as John Jersey John Shelley and Danielle Colby. Between the years 2010 and 2020, Frank was a guest on the show. Jerry Gendreau, a close friend of Frank's, disclosed for the first time in an exclusive interview with the United States Sun that he would have returned to the show if it weren't for the health problems he was experiencing. Michael was the one who conceived up the idea for the show. Jerry remarked that Mike was astute enough to recognize that the show would be a success with Frank performing. If I were to compare Mike and Frank to Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, I would say that they are similar. It is possible that Jerry Lewis Frank was far more vital for the show than he was first thought to be. Being the Jerry Lewis all the time is a really difficult task to accomplish. If Frank hadn't been dealing with his health problems, I believe he would have returned, and he did have a number of significant health problems. Between the ages of 25 and 30, he began to experience symptoms of Crohn's disease. This bowel condition, known as Crohn's disease, is characterized by inflammation in the digestive tract. An explanation was given by Jerry regarding how Frank's spontaneity contributed to his popularity among viewers on the show. He was truly the comedian who popped out with some of the weirdest and dumbest things that you just go, "Wow," Jerry added. He was a true comedian. He left his imprint on the annals of history. On top of that, Jerry shared some information on Frank's health issues over the past few months. As he said to the United States Sun, he felt really, really bad. Whenever you went to visit him at the nursing home, you would notice that one half of his body was utterly ruined. When he lifted his arm, it would fall to the ground without any effort. Being completely confined to bed must be a challenging situation. Jerry described how Frank became frustrated due to the fact that he couldn't come out and say what he wanted to say, despite the fact that some days were much, much better than others. This is something that I've witnessed. When individuals get tired, they get fatigued. According to Jerry, I believe that if you do not have the will to live, you will not live. If Frank had had the will to live, I believe he would have been able to survive for a tremendously longer period of time. Pickers were leaving. In 2020, Frank quit American Pickers in order to undergo back surgery, and he was officially terminated from his position in 2021. The feud that Frank had with his co-star Mike was brought to light in 2021 during an interview with the United States Sun. According to Frank, "I haven't spoken to Mike in the past 2 years. Despite the fact that he was aware that my back was infected, he did not call me to inquire about how I was doing. But that is the way things are. Everything is stacked in his favor 100% of the time. For the sake of demonstrating how much, I can't even bend down that far." Okay, that's all right. When you think about it, it's almost as if you have Aerosmith and Steven Tyler is the frontman for the band. I found my place on the show. I'm currently in second place and he's in first place. I don't have a problem with it, but it's possible that he does have a problem. As a further admission, he stated, "I believe Mike is trying to get his brother Robbie in there to take my place. I am really perplexed as to why he is acting in such a manner towards me." Robbie ended up taking Frank's place on the series by the end. Jerry stated to the United States Sun about Robbie, "I've known Robbie for as long as I can remember. This is Robbie the man. Not only has he not changed, but he has always been a noisy person. Mr. Robbie is that. It's inherent to who he is." Shortly after Frank's interview with the United States Sun, Mike made the announcement on Instagram, "And I have always thought of him as a brother." According to what he wrote, the journey that Frank, Danny, and I started back in 2009 has come with its highs and lows, blessings and challenges, but it has also been the most rewarding. This is nothing different from the journey that every other life has. It is via these places, people, and things that we all share a common thread, and the support that you all have given us has been a continual reminder of what the show's message has always been. It is not just to take care of the past that we are here, but also to take care of each other. Just like all of you, I will miss Frank, and I pray that, as he moves on to the next stage of his journey, he is blessed with the very best and everything that one could possibly hope for. That same month, in July of 2022, Frank experienced a stroke. The feud between Mike and Frank came to an end after Frank's health problems, and they got back together over the Memorial Day weekend in 2023. At that time, a source close to Frank communicated to the United States Sun that everything between them is fine. The two of them had known one another for 40 years. In addition to having completed all of this together, they went to high school together. They're very good friends, great friends. According to a source who spoke to the United States Sun in August 2023, Frank was even contemplating making a comeback to the series. I don't see why he would choose not to come back to the show. A source close to the situation asserted at the time that he might return to the show to perform. He watches the most recent episodes. He is going to chuckle about it. There must be something on that list that you can yell at them about. Indeed, he will inform them about it. Difficulty in health. Frank suffered a stroke in his home in Iowa in July of 2022, and this passing comes 2 years after the hospitalization. Frank's recovery from the stroke was not complete since he was taken to the hospital for pneumonia and a seizure 4 times in 2022 and 2023. This prevented him from fully recovering from the stroke. After spending time in the hospital, he is now confined to a wheelchair and has been transferred back to a rehabilitation center. The United States Sun reported in August 2023 that a source had earlier stated, he is able to walk, but he will always require the wheelchair because he is unable to walk for extended periods of time. You basically lose motion, she said. His mobility was lost. Stroke can affect either the left or the right side of the body. In this case, it afflicted the right side. State of conservatory. It was in August of 2022 when Frank's close friends submitted a petition for conservatorship and guardianship on his behalf. The documents that were obtained by the United States Sun stated that Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired as a result of his stroke that he is unable to care for his own safety or to provide for necessities such as food, shelter, clothing, or medical care, without which physical injury or illness may occur. According to the statement, Mr. Fritz's decision-making capacity is so impaired that he is unable to make, communicate, or carry out important decisions concerning his own financial affairs. During the time that Mr. Fritz is still recuperating and receiving treatment for his injuries, decisions need to be made regarding his care and placement. For the purpose of preventing immediate harm to him, it was determined that the appointment of a guardian and conservator was necessary. Due to the fact that Frank required skilled and long-term nursing care at the time, Midwestone, the conservator, ordered that Frank's finances be handed to them in July of 2024. With remembrance of Frank, Mike paid tribute to his longtime friend by naming the upcoming season of American Pickers after him before the show's launch. It has taken me a long time to figure out what I was going to say, or even if I wanted to post that we have new episodes starting tomorrow night, he wrote. It has been a long time of consideration for me. The timing of this and Frank's passing is not great, however, we have been making shows without Frank for 4 years now, and we have always wanted him to be back with this crew, but he couldn't due to health issues. Every time the crew and I were in Iowa, we would go and sit by Frank's side and tell him how much he was missed, how he could never be replaced, and how we will work extremely hard on each episode to make him proud. We would do this every time we were in Iowa. As always, since Frank has left, I dedicate this show and all the others this season in his honor.